Good morning. Welcome to Love Morning. It is Wednesday. Happy Hump Day. This is a daily chance to take a moment to share some gratitude, to hear some gratitude, to remember how much we have to be grateful for. Take a vacation from your problems, or at least practice wrapping it in some gratitude. I give you permission to take 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes if you want to let go of all the reasons you have to be worried, to be upset, to be frustrated, and sit in gratitude with me and those of us who are going to join us for this live gathering or this recording. And as it feels so good to sing a song, even if you can't sing along because the words are new each time, that doesn't mean that I can't make 'em rhyme, because the melody just comes forth. And even if you've got something in the north, it's time for a love morning. It's time for love morning. It's time to be together. It's not really a song. It's more of an intro ditty that I do every morning. I'm grateful, and I have been enjoying telling people that I improv a song every morning, especially as I meet friends of Lisa who know of her singing and her choir leading. Like, we had choir practice last night in San Diego, but over the weekend we went to her choir that she leads in Monterey, and there was a practice and potluck, and so I got to sit down and get to know a number of people who have been singing in Lisa's choir for years. And, often the topic of singing comes up, and I have a very interesting relationship with song. I go, it's not that I don't like singing, it's that I struggle to remember lyrics. In fact, I make up a song every morning, is kind of how I often engage in that conversation. And people are like, what? I'm like, yeah, I do a morning broadcast and I start it with a song. Maybe I should say I start it with a musical ditty. I can call it a song. Good morning, Gerbat. Good morning, Juan. Good morning, anyone else who might be joining us. Please say hello. We would love to know that you're here. We would love to feel that connection. I am so grateful for these digital tools that just continue to evolve and allow us the experience of feeling that we are sharing space, not physical space, but heart space. That is the kind of basis behind Hug Nation, is that it doesn't matter where your feet are, it matters where your heart is. And even if you watch this recording and it's another time, you are still joining in this space of gratitude, connection, and open-heartedness. Carrie! I am so happy to see your name. I have been thinking about you frequently. So I am grateful to see your name and connect with you in this moment of heart connection, in this place of Hug Nation. I would love to catch up with you soon if that works in your schedule. What are you grateful for? I'm grateful for choir practice last night, especially because I went to choir practice on Sunday and spent hours learning and practicing the songs. Having a practice a couple days later with the San Diego people that had not just had a practice. So I was kind of ahead. I mean, technically we have all the practice tracks and we should be listening and practicing at home, but I have not been doing a very good job at that. But to show up at practice yesterday and have a better understanding of the songs and what the baritone part is in a number of them. So there was one song particularly where I knew the song, and so during the first time singing it, I was belting it out, and like the person behind me was like, "Sounding good." I was like, "Oh, really?" Like that was kind of a thrill to feel like I was helping. I'm being good. I'm helping. So I'm grateful for this edge that I am maneuvering by being a part of a choir. Made so much easier by Lisa. And even if I wasn't in love, deeply, madly in love with Lisa, it's still, she is such a good leader. It's really like, I mean, I have a healthy self-image, but I have so much admiration and inspiration from the way she holds space and teaches and leads with love and a smile and inspiration. She paused the practice to tell a story of one of her mentors who is in hospice right now, and it was so beautiful and so heartfelt, and it just like her mastery of being so present that she knew that even as these 80 people were there to practice choir, that what we're sharing is not just trying to get to a performance. We are coming together in community. We are coming together to learn songs as medicine, to learn songs as ways to practice have more capacity as humans. The mentor that she mentioned, something Macy is her name, but Lisa got to spend time with her briefly years ago, and Lisa was so excited. It's one of her people that has been one of her mentors, like just someone that it'd be like getting to sit down with Ram Dass. And Lisa was like, "Tell me, what's the one thing, what's the most important thing?" And the woman said, without even pausing, just saying, "Learning how to, expanding our capacity to hold joy and grief at the same time." And then she told more stories about this woman and said, and these songs are tools so that we can learn how to hold more joy and more grief at the same time. And I was like, damn. Kirbat says, how did she get to be so awesome? I all the time I say, everything that's happened to you in your life so far, I am grateful for. But she's been dedicated to song for a long time. She had some really challenging times in her life that forced her to do a lot of inner work. She's done a lot of therapy. She's very dedicated to her to growth. She worked at Esalen for years. If you're familiar with Esalen, I mean that is like the one of the most personal growth, magical places in the world. And then she's worked with, an incredible mentor, Don Rosenthal, who's got, if you want to look up Don Rosenthal, he's got a beautiful book. And that was her most recent mentor who passed just earlier this year. But she's inspiring. Kiri says, I'm grateful I moved into my new apartment on Monday and super grateful that I had the financial means to hire movers to help me carry all the heavy stuff. Oh, I feel you on that. Like, I think that's one of the main dividers between being a grown-up and not, is if you hire movers. Nothing wrong with, asking your friends to help you move furniture, but like I definitely felt a difference in my life when I was like, okay, I'm not going to lift the heavy things. I'm not going to ask my friends to lift these heavy things. And if a friend asks me to lift heavy things, I'm going to say, I will happily participate in a GoFundMe for movers. But the risk of me hurting myself and then having weeks of chiropractic and massage to try to fix, like, not worth it. So not worth it. So bravo, Kiri. Congrats on your new space. It's your own space too, right? Your solo abode. That's another grown-up thing. Woohoo, Kiri is on fuego. Kiri says, I don't want to move once, let alone 2 apartments a day every day. So much respect for people who do that daily. Oh, you mean the movers? Yeah. I mean, it's hard for me to even imagine what it is like to have like a manual labor job like that. Kiri says, my first time living alone in 12 years. Okay, the coolest things about living alone to me is, one, you can just like leave a spoon and a cup out and just keep reusing it. You don't even have to wash it because it's yours. And the other thing is, if you have like a lubricant that you like, you can just keep it out on the bedstand. I'm sure there's other reasons that having your own space is cool, but those are the first ones that came to my mind. Kiri says, I left the spoon out yesterday. I felt so alive. Yeah. I completely, I feel you. It's funny though. So Lisa was away for a week, and when she's here, I keep our place neat. I'm putting things away, doing the dishes. Now she cooks almost every night, so I always I do the dishes. It's just, I'm happy to. But within 24 hours of her being gone, the amount of stuff that just I didn't put away, I left in the living room, the dishes that didn't get done, it's like, oh wow, I really, I'm subconsciously very motivated by keeping a place clean for my beloved, which isn't a bad thing. Gravot says, yay for convenient lube. And yay for finding a lube you like. I am, you know what? Maybe I'll just put a period on that sentence and move on. Kiri says, you really love and respect your partner. I really do. I really, really do. And I try to make sure she knows, because it's my favorite thing, is loving her. I feel so blessed. I mean, I don't feel lucky, like I don't deserve her or something. I just feel so blessed that everything, all the work that I've done, all the growth I've gone through has prepared me to be a good partner to someone who is a good partner. Anyone else want to share any gratitude today? I am grateful. I put up a new episode of Hard on the 80s. We talked about the movie Trading Places. So I was editing it yesterday and putting in clips from the movie to try to make it a little bit more entertaining. It was an interesting conversation that, like, sometimes it's much funnier And this one, we had a little bit more disagreement between us about whether Trading Places was good or not. Shonda did not like it. She thought it was boring. But my brother pointed out, which I thought was a good thing, he's like, I think the reason that it can appear boring is because Eddie Murphy is just like doing Eddie Murphy stuff. And it's almost like by now, that's almost like a trope. But at the time, Eddie Murphy being Eddie Murphy was mind-blowing. It's like, Robin Williams being, when you see him doing his thing for the first time, you're like, what? Gerbot says, grateful for another good night of tacos with friends. I love that. That's just such a consistent source of gratitude and friendship and connection, anchored with tacos, as most good things are. I'm grateful that I think I have my green screen lighting figured out good enough that I can move forward. And I think that I have like $1,000 worth of lights that I can return. I think I still have time to return them. I ended up using these old lights that I had that I actually gave away. And then my friend that I gave them said, hey, do you want to try them? I'll give them back to you. And they seem to be working at least as good as all the ones I bought, trying to do it right. So I'm feeling pretty good. I think the lighting is, I think it's going to work. So now I'm getting excited about working on this gratitude course that I feel like is something that I need to do, I want to do. Oh, another thing I'm grateful for, I had a beautiful conversation with a friend, Alexis, who is close friends with Lisa, and I am growing closer, and a really, really wonderful woman. And I was sharing that, how do I explain it? My beloved is overbooked with choir, with her. She's basically got 3 jobs that she has, and they're all, I mean, she's perfect for all of them. They're all of service. They're all ways that she's helping people. And so she's busy way more than I am. So I have the opportunity to spend more time relaxed or making a silly video or scrolling or watching TV. And I've noticed a little feeling of unease or guilt maybe. And I kind of have been subconsciously joking about it and saying like, you do so much good. That means that it evens us out. So as a couple, I don't have to do so much because you're so good for the world. And we finally we're just kind of talking more openly about it, and she helped. This is before talking to Alexis. That Lisa helped me understand or helped me see that because I am not fully booked, I have periods of time where I choose how I'm going to spend that time. And I'm not choosing to fill that time with worthwhile things. And so I feel bad. And Alexis said something. So she goes, John, I think you need to stop thinking about trying to be a good person, because you just are a good person. But instead, just notice that something in you is unsatisfied, and then work on addressing that dissatisfaction. Which, as I am interpreting that and digesting that, that goes from being I should be using my time better, to I have a feeling of unease because that could be alleviated by doing something that is rewarding. And that is such a more healthy mindset than going, I should do something productive. Instead going like, if I work on this course today, that will feel good. That will relieve that unease. Sometimes other people's perspectives can be very, very helpful. Hello, High Noon. High Noon says, feeling overwhelmed but grateful for seeing the feeling and knowing I am doing my best. Beautiful. Juan is grateful for good food, plenty of work, and the opportunity to do good today. Oh, I love that. I'm going to say it again. Grateful for good food, plenty of work, and the opportunity to do good today. Thanks, Juan. High Noon says, I am grateful for those who I am creating safe places to be more honest. You are all helping me do that as well. It takes a community. Thanks, Gerbot. Kiri says, empowerment for the win. Yeah, it's something about the her wording of it and the way, like, she started it by saying you're good, so it softened that deep down not enoughness feeling, which I think is, I'm healing that. I'm way better than I used to, but I think maybe some of the watching TV and distraction is avoiding some of that unworthiness. And so trying to go, no, you're good. So just what can you do? What activity would allow you to practice and be in that goodness that would then feel good? Anybody else want to share a little bit of gratitude before we head into the day? Also, part of our Love Mornings is taking a moment to think about who would you want to be? What are the qualities? As an opportunity comes today, as a decision point, as a fork in the road, what do you want to be top of mind so that you don't react and try to people please or act out of some old pattern? And I am going to be aware of that unease and lean into spending my time today moving towards satisfying or scratching that feeling of discomfort. And doing so not through avoiding or numbing, but through activity. I'm going to be kind and complimenting and patient. I'm going to continue to practice gratitude. I'm going to try to reach out to a few friends and just send them notes. I'm going to prioritize the connections in my life. I'm going to make sure Lisa knows that she is well loved. Kiri says, sounds like those behaviors are your subconscious driving you to self-sabotage. Yeah, I think it's part of the long-standing avoidance and numbing that used to be intoxicants. Kiri says, such great news because you get to notice it and make different choices like you're doing. Thank you, yeah. Heinun says, I would love to quiet my naysaying mind, but replace it with you can. Yeah. And I mentioned this yesterday, but I've been really being helped lately by creating a whole cast of voices, or recognizing there's a whole cast of personalities and perspectives and parts. And so anytime I'm at battle with myself or judging myself, it's simply one of my parts that is taken control or is in control, that is no longer suited for the job. So it's not like a bad guy or a villain or an opponent. It's just a part of me that needs a demotion. And that feels a little bit less, it allows me to avoid any judgment or sense of backslipping or failing, or I'm not as far along as I should be. Because no, the parts are all there. It's just a process of getting to be a better leader of those parts, and quicker recognizing, oh, the wrong person is got the wheel right now. Let's try to that part of me that feels totally unworthy. Let's put him in the back seat for a little bit, because clearly we have all sorts of evidence that there's other parts of me that are capable. Gerbot says, grateful to have a job where I'm helpful to others. Yeah. Kiri says, I noticed that in myself as well. Since quitting alcohol and caffeine, other addictive behaviors have cropped up, and I've had to notice where they're coming from and compassionately let them go. Yeah. For me, it's that, and also having compassion and understanding for my need to cope. You know, if I eat a whole bunch of M&Ms, but I don't do ketamine, that's still a win, you know? And so and then it's just like, okay, so did we need, now that we see what we're doing with these M&Ms, can you, without getting too harsh on the self, without feeling like too much of a failure. In fact, there's, hey, victory! All you did was M&Ms? Awesome. But clearly you're feeling, there's something at work that you're struggling with. So rather than feel like the M&Ms is a solution, let's just recognize there's something at play that is difficult. And then maybe have some other perspectives and viewpoints around it. Kiri says, absolutely. We're imperfect, and it's totally okay that we need to be soothed by something sometimes. Bingo. I am so appreciative of these opportunities to connect, and thank you for spending a little bit of your morning with me, or whatever time of day it is for you. I love you. Let's share an intentional hug before we go. So wherever you are, hug that beautiful body of yours, and let's feel ourselves holding one another in this place of intention, being wrapped up, surrendering into a we experience, this shared human experience, letting ourselves celebrate one another, learn from one another, inspire one another, laugh at ourselves and one another as we take a deep breath in and squeeze. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and all of us here, thanks for being here for this Hug Nation Love Morning. I love you. Appreciate you. Aww. Good morning, Sherry. And thank you, Kiri. Thanks, Gerbot. Thanks, High Noon. Thanks, Juan.